I love it when Sergio sneaks a map into a Groo comic, and today we're going to look at one of the best Groo maps he's drawn. Hi, I'm Darren and these are my hands, and this is GrooTube, where we appreciate the art of Aragonés. Today, we are continuing our exploration of the Groo Universe, the Grooniverse, by looking at Pacific Comics number 2 and this map, The Travels of the Wanderer. It's been a while since I was looking through my copies of the Groo Chronicles. I'm always concerned I'm going to break the spine, so I often just read Groo in my old comics. But a few weeks ago, when I was flipping through, I saw the Travelers of the Wanderer map, and it looks so good in the Chronicles. I thought it would be worthwhile to try to get a nice image of that map from the pages of the Chronicles. So I've taken some photos and stitched them together, and I'll try to show it on the screen and use it for close-ups. But I'll do my hand waving over my copy of Pacific Comics Groo number 2, just because it lies down so nice and flat. Right on, let's get to the map. Unfortunately, this map does not have any indication of latitude or longitude, so it's much more difficult to place on the Groo globe. Also, scale is a problem with this map as well. Maybe it's more densely packed, maybe it covers a larger area than the Pacific Comics number 5 Voyages map. It's hard to know, so maybe we'll just make a guess at where it goes later on, but mostly we'll just enjoy it. But what we do know is that the Mare Cartoonistum is on this map as well, so at the very least we can assume that it's possible to travel between where we find Groo in issue number 2 and where he ends up in issue number 5. Something else to note before we explore the details of this map is that a few things are either left out or obscured by the map, either by geographic features, people, or word balloons. So it's impossible to be complete. And finally, the whole gag of the map is that everyone wants Groo dead, so bring me Groo's head and death to Groo, slice Groo. These are all the sentiments that we read all across these pages. And maybe the joke that everybody in the world wants Groo dead is more important than building a proper atlas of the Grooniverse. But we'll still try. Okay, let's visit all the locations on the map. You are here. Or at least Groo is here, standing overlooking the lands all around him. In the southwest quadrant of the map, we have the land of Tranda, where Terranado and his gang wait for Groo, and a little red gate blocks the road across the red earth. It's not colored in the Chronicles. There's not much going on here except for a lizard or a dragon or a dinosaur frightening a small burrowing creature. We see a village of thatched-roofed wattle and daub huts on the border between Tranda and a realm to the west named the realm of something that's obscured by the village. The people of the village have painted blue faces in the original comic and appear to have a camel and a giraffe, suggesting perhaps an arid climate. Further into that unnamed realm, the ground is yellow and there are bleached bones suggesting a desert. But they're not colored in the Chronicles. And in the far west, we see some green-robed people and a cute pink dinosaur, but they're just yellow in Chronicles. Just to the north, a river winds along the border, and a volcano spews lava into the air. Heading north across the river, we see green lands, trees, and a castle in King Kohan's realm. It really is a shame that the recolored Chronicles leave out so much of the coloring on the map or just leave it monocolored. The sage and mulch make an appearance here wandering down the river. To the north of King Kohan's realm, a body of water separates the snow-covered plains of Stout, which are inexplicably colored green in Chronicles, with its fur-wrapped citizen and a penguin. Far in the distance, we see more water and a dinosaur with a ridged back on patrol. Looking eastward, the river we saw earlier winds around the volcano into Michoacan, where the leader of an army wants Groo dead. Michoacan as a name is similar to the Mexican region of Michoacan, pardon my pronunciation, which itself comes from a word that means place of fishermen. Maybe there's good fishing in that river. The river itself plunges over the cliffs separating the east and the west of the map as it flows through the kingdom of Canaria, Spanish for Canaries. Canaria has a formidable-looking castle in the west and a strong wall on its border with the land of Tranda. Its eastern coast is on the Mare Cartoonistum and has docks and wrecks, and nearby, where the land of Tranda has some coastline as well, we find some scary-looking sea caves and a white rock island in the shape of a skull. Ooh, scary. Crossing the river, we find an area named the Valley of Zumu with 2 settlements. Near the river, we find a winding road that leads up an incredibly tall, flat-top pinnacle where we find a 3rd solid castle, this one with towers reaching high into the sky. Down in the actual Valley of Zumu, we find a dinosaur caravan making its way to a city covered in domes and minarets. Perhaps this is where the temple of the priest of Zumu would be found. Out to sea is the spike-covered rock of the Isle of Span with its lone tower. Northward, we find the orange lake of Oxus with its long-necked serpent creatures. Auxes is the ancient name of a real-life river that drains into the Oral Sea. Maybe Sergio was thinking of the Oral Sea when he drew Lake Oxus, another lake with no outlet. This could explain the orange color of the lake with the buildup of mineral deposits. Unfortunately, in Chronicles, Tom colors Lake Oxus blue. Lake Oxus is on the east border of the land of Alcon, another dry-looking area. Alcon has a wonderful city on stilts nestled in its cliffs. The city's buildings are all round and almost spaceship-like. In the land of Alcon, we find a very mysterious object. It looks like a carving of the number 56. Is it a shrine or an altar? I thought maybe it was Sergio's age, but he would only have been 45 in 1982. If you know the significance, or even if you have a good guess, please leave it in the comments. As we head further north, we enter more lands of snow and ice and 3 distinct regions. First, we find Rado Valley, with a sled being pulled by a pair of oxen and a magnificent city or castle covered in snow with turrets like that of St. Basil's Cathedral in Moscow. Even further north, we see a snow-covered plain with the name Megalo something printed across it, and a walled city in the far distance. Smoke wafts up from the chimneys, keeping the residents warm. Lastly, on a snow-covered rocky cliff, a final yellow and red city behind a protective wall with Nordic-looking roofs overlooks the lands below while a flying creature coughs on the smoke from the erupting volcano in the center of the map. The Travels of the Wanderer map really is beautiful, but it's quite a different interpretive experience viewing it from the original Pacific comic versus the Chronicles recolor. There's no denying that the quality of the print of the Chronicles vastly surpasses that of the original comic, though. The detail just seems to be a bit higher. Still, I prefer the original colors. It makes for a richer story. Now, where could we put this map on our large map of the Grooniverse? It's really hard to say. Because we were given the map in issue 2 and the locations do correspond to the events of the story, I think it would make sense to place it nearish the location we found on the map of the Mare Cartoonistum from issue number 5. I'm not really certain, but I'll take into account the angle of the compass, and perhaps we can find a place for it around here. What do you think? Well, Groo friends, we've just enjoyed another wonderful map from Sergio Aragonés and tried to place it on the map of the Grooniverse. I have more locations to add, and I've found other smaller maps to look at as well, so there will be at least one more Groo Atlas video coming. If you know of any other maps in the Groo comics, please let me know. And of course, make sure you're subscribed and have notifications turned on, because I'll be back again soon with some more GrooTube. Why would this be green? There's a penguin up here. Should be snow. But look at that. Such nice detail on this map. Even that little spot still there.